This is Design Safe Radio, where natural hazards researchers strive to make our society more resilient to everything nature throws at us.
How has the past few weeks of you guys working on these projects changed your perspective of a career in research? Were you intending to get into, research before and have changed now? Or I know, Claire, you mentioned you were in physics before and now changed to coastal engineering. So what has changed for you guys in terms of kind of your career path, if anything, since starting the REU program?
I think for me, I always kind of planned to continue to grad school, at least for a master's, but the REU program really pushed me more to consider continuing for a PhD and like a more research-based career opportunity later on. So I think that was not really a shift, but like more of a reinforcement to that idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with Will on that. I always planned to go into, once I started getting involved in research at OSU, I kind of realized that I really like doing, research within geotechnical engineering, and this REU program has just kind of fortified that idea. But it's also made me consider more of the option of like computational geomechanics, and kind of opened the door to me, or for me, for a lot of other subfields of geotech that I wouldn't have considered before being in this program. So it's been a good experience.
That's great.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I've always felt like I was going to go into more of the research side of engineering rather than the industry side. And I've been going back and forth with that and talking to different professors and stuff. But after being in this program, I kind of gotten a better feel for what like the research side of engineering is, and how just complex it is, and how even though it feels a lot of the time that you're not making any progress because it's like research and sometimes you're not finding anything, you're always like learning new things and like building on top of stuff. And I think that's just kind of fun and neat. So it's definitely solidified my like future a little bit more into going into research.
Oh, that's great. Good to hear that there's a bright future in research careers for you guys. What would you say to people who are thinking about either maybe inviting one of their friends or their peers, or if there's a faculty member out there wanting to encourage their students to apply to the REU program? What's something that you wish you would have known at the beginning of the summer?
That's a good question. Well, I think for me, I would have wanted to know that it's virtual, because that was a big shock. But I mean, that turned out fine, especially working at the SimCenter. That didn't change anything. But I guess that was kind of like the shift from when I applied to when I actually got in. I didn't know that it was going to be virtual.
Yeah, some insider baseball on that is we didn't either. and Robin Nelson and the ECO team done a great job of still, sounds like, making it a great experience in spite of the challenging environment that we're in, where some places can't do in person as much as we would like to.
Go ahead, Claire.
I was just gonna say, I think for like people that are considering applying to the REU program, really just stress the fact that you don't need to have prior research experience in order to do this. I don't have any prior research experience, and I was pretty nervous coming in that I was going to feel really behind and not know what I was doing, but they do a really great job of just introducing you to the process of doing research and writing a paper and creating a poster. So I think that that's something important, like not to like hold yourself back from it, even though you might feel like you're not experienced enough for it.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that 100%. The mentorship is really good, at least in this NHERI program. Robin does a really good job, and Dr. Vielma does a really good job with, going through the entire research process step by step, and, very systematically, like Claire said. And I would also say for someone who has maybe a little bit of research experience, that it's a really, really good program, because at least at the SimCenter, and, Will and Claire can probably back me up on this, we're not really treated like interns. We're kind of treated like researchers in our own right. So we're given a lot of good responsibility. We do get closely mentored, and, our postdocs have been really good, but we are allowed to, make our own conclusions, write our own, research, and kind of be our own independent researchers. And I don't think you get that experience in, many other programs. And I feel like it'll give us a really good edge if we decide to continue in the research path and go into a PhD program. It's a really, really good starting point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's really
and
cool.
I would like add on to that if someone is considering the REU program, thinking more about it as like kind of like a job kind of thing where they tell you what to do and you have to do it, I would say I noticed that somewhat of a shift of that for me, it was so far, it has been more of a learning experience where I'm actually given the opportunity to learn so much about so many different fields and like get to learn about things that I want to do and kind of take the project where I want it to head more than just having it put on me.
Okay, so Aditya, you were talking about something really important, actually, a couple of things that I wanted to highlight here of the strength of the NHERI network and mentoring. And one of the things that we like to talk about is in the REU program and actually throughout your whole career as researchers is helping you be able to increase your ability to hold greater and greater responsibility within a research team. And the REU program sounds like from your perspective has been helping you, learn how to do that, increasing your abilities, giving you a really safe environment to practice new skills without big consequences when you fail, which helps you give you the confidence to keep moving forward. Does that sound about right?
Definitely. Spot on.
And then the network piece, we've got, as you guys know, but for anybody who's listening who may not be familiar, there's 12 different facilities, 8 of which have experimental components to them. And so you've got access to ask questions of people at the UC Davis Centrifuge or the UC San Diego Large Shake Table or the Rapid facility at UW, or on the coastal engineering side, OSU and Pedro Lamonaco and his crew out there. And we've even got people who are involved in the network coordination office who are coastal engineers, like Cheryl N. Blaine from the Office of Naval Research. And so you can have access to these world-class researchers and facilities to ask questions as you're developing your projects and writing your papers and presenting at conferences and things. It's really an amazing community. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, definitely. And I would second that and affirm that all the way. And I think we are in a really good spot at the SimCenter specifically because, like you said, 8 of those facilities are experimental. So we can use data that some of them produce and then use it in our research. They can use the results we produce. And the cross collaboration is something that, like I said, I applied to many RU programs, but none of them were really like this, where there's such open collaboration between facilities and between communities at different schools. So that's something that's really good about the NHERI program.
Yeah.
And really it opens a lot of doors of the potential of things you can do, even if you go beyond the experimental sites, like having a site with a supercomputer and like design safe and TAC and all that at UT Austin really expands the type of research you can do within this field.
Thanks for listening to today's episode of Design Safe Radio. This show is sponsored by the National Science Foundation grant number 1612144. You can subscribe to Design Safe Radio on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you find your podcasts. Please leave us a review so we can improve the show. Please also help others find our episodes in iTunes. Thanks for your feedback and support. You can find out more about NHERI at designsafe-ci.org, on Facebook at Design Safe Radio, or on Twitter at NHERI Design Safe.